What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video, and today is really a video that I never wanted to make. Today is a story of how I rolled my Jeep for the very first time. The story starts with Marlon and I going to Salt Lake City a couple weeks ago at the beginning of March for the Salt Lake City Off-Road Expo. That was a 2-day event. I believe it was Friday and Saturday. On our way down, we were leaving Sunday and decided to get a little get-together for Off-Road and Chill fans and subscribers out in Little Moab, which is located south of Salt Lake City on the way back home to Hurricane. Just to let you guys know, before we continue the video, I'm fine, the Jeep's fine. We obviously drove it to this location, so if you don't want to watch the whole video, which I wouldn't understand why you wouldn't, just so that everyone knows, we're good. We had about 100 people show up to the Off-Road and Chill get-together out at Little Moab, which is fantastic. Guys, thank you if you were there. Thank you so much for coming. If you wanted to and you couldn't make it, also thank you for trying. So guys, we had a fantastic day. It started out with hitting a bunch of cool lines. If you haven't ever been to Little Moab, what it is basically just a really big rock formation with hundreds, I promise you there's at least 100 different lines that you can take or make up on your own. It's like a rock garden, playground area. There's something from mild to wild. So let's get to it and show you guys the damage of the rollover before I get into the story. So very clearly, the windshield and the windshield frame are toast. So guys, I've had this Jeep, I bought it back in June of 2020, and probably a week into Jeep ownership, I was driving it on the highway and I got a crack. So this crack here is actually a week after I bought my Jeep, and it follows this line. So it was already cracked, so it makes cracking the windshield less hurtful because it already had to be replaced. But obviously, the windshield frame also has to go. So we are on the lookout for that. So if we've had a couple offers from people, but they're either in Texas or Arizona, and so we're just kind of trying to see if there's a better or closer option. I do prefer the frame to already be black. It doesn't necessarily have to have glass because we can always just get a windshield from like a Safe Light place or you know, windshield replacement place. So that's not a big deal. So yeah, windshield frame has to go. We can definitely still off-road it. Obviously you can see that Marlon already took the windshield brackets off. So it's just 2 more bolts connecting it to the cage and then we're good to go. I can be windshieldless. It's going to be cold and it's going to suck, but I can still wheel, no problem. And second, and basically the only other place that I injured the Jeep was the rear corner area. So the armor is aluminum, and obviously it's drilled into the body, which is a very thin sheet metal. And so basically this situation here is, is hurting. What are we gonna do? I really have no idea. People have given us different opinions on what we should do. Obviously unbolt the armor, straighten this out as much as we can, and then either bang this out a little bit and then just replace this top. Honestly, we're not too keen on body work because it's not our wheelhouse. So this is just very purely cosmetic. So necessarily, do we have to do it right now? No, but obviously you guys know, I personally don't like tons of body damage on the Jeep, and this is a painful reminder of what happened. So I would like to eventually get it fixed or worked out at a body shop. But yeah, other than that, guys, there's no damage. We've been through the Jeep in its entirety, every weld, every connection, the suspension, the shocks, the towers, everything held out perfectly, which brings me to my next point. I want to take this minute or several minutes to just thank a couple very important key partners that really were the reason why I was able to get rolled back over on all fours, wait 15 minutes and start it up again and go. And not only the Jeep is okay, but I'm okay. So let's start very, I would say probably 2 of the most important things that made not just this rollover okay, but my life and my entire body, everything was fine. So first and foremost, we're gonna go with PRP. So I have PRP suspension seats. I have the Comp Elites. And so those are kind of narrow and they do hold in my body very well, as well as a 5-point PRP harness, which was fully engaged, all 5 points. So it's 2 straps, 2 sides, and then the middle 5-point, and it all kind of connects in a buckle style, latch style here. and that kept me literally in the Jeep. I didn't flail. I also held on to that PRP steering wheel. It's a quick disconnect, and I just, as it was rolling over, I held on because your body does want to fling your arms just to kind of make everything stop, but it doesn't, and that's dangerous. That's how you can, God forbid, get really, really injured. So I held on, and then that was golden. So PRP, huge shout out to them. Thank you for creating an amazing product that really, quite frankly, saved my life. Also, secondly, most important, rivaling first place, if not already first place, is the cage, guys. So the cage is a two-part thank you. So the cage is a Genrite cage. Genrite, though, does not build a fast back style for the two-door, and that's what I wanted. So the front is Genrite, and then our builder, Tyler from Tom's 4x4, also known his fabrication as Rock Solid Fab, he fabricated the fastback of it. And guys, it is completely 100% straight. It did not tweak. We checked it with levelers. Some of the powder coating obviously rubbed off, but honestly, that is neither here nor there. It did its job. It kept me safe. It kept the Jeep from collapsing in on itself, and I could not be happier. So huge shout out to Genrite and Tyler from Tom's 4x4 / Rock Solid Fab. Thank you, thank you. A couple other things worth mentioning. Obviously, he did the 392 conversion, and guys, I know a lot of people are always like, oh, get an LS versus a Hemi because in case of a rollover, and I'm not saying it doesn't happen, guys, because it does. We know other content creators that were not as lucky as I was in this case, but the Jeep was probably on its side for no more than 5 minutes. Marlon took action, verified I was safe, winched me over. He was in a perfect spot. We let the Jeep settle for about 10-15 minutes. I gave it a quick bump just to kind of hear. I was advised to do that. Everything sounded fine. I quickly let off, and then we waited 5 more minutes. I turned it on. There was zero to little or at all smoking. Engine sounded perfectly healthy. We let it run for about 10-15 minutes, and then I hit the obstacle again. So I'll kind of include that and give you more details on the story. But so, you know, huge shout out to Tyler for obviously building that correctly and making sure with the cam upgrade and everything that everything was awesome. So no harm to the Hemi, guys. I know you guys are going to ask that. Obviously, RPM steering and suspension, huge shout out to them, not only for the steering and the suspension that made it possible and to happen to be able to be on that obstacle in the first place, but it is completely aluminum, you know, bends right back, so there's no harm to any of those components. The towers are still completely straight and equidistant from each other, let's say, because of the brace in the back. Bilstein coilovers and bump stops took and absorbed a lot of that damage. And so guys, that was fantastic. There's nothing wrong with the axle. So whoop whoop, Spicer, that Ultimate Dana 60, even though people say it's not a real 1-ton, it is, because it definitely keeps up to what we're doing. And then obviously RCV axle shafts in the front, those took a beating and those were fine. Guys, all in all, this Jeep, honestly, even though we don't want it to look like it is currently looking, it was meant and it was built for this. I did not build this rig with the mindset of just driving it around town. It is very much a trail purpose rig, and its purpose is to beat on it, put it back on the trailer, and do it all over again day after day. So super happy with that. So the day was coming down to an end. I had wheeled a lot of the hardest obstacles there at Little Moab. I was able to do some obstacles that a lot of buggies either didn't try, struggled on, or didn't make it, which is really cool. It was almost 1 p.m. and Marlon said, hey, I made a new line, come to the backside of Little Moab and try it. Marlon had obviously seen it first, you know, saw a line in his head, attempted it, made it. 2 buggies followed suit. One didn't make it and the second one did. So he was like, babe, you got to try it. You'll be the second Jeep and let's see if you can make it or not. So reluctant, I should have called it. You know, I had a bad feeling about it, but hindsight's 2020. Went around the back of Little Moab and saw the obstacle. It didn't look like anything, honestly. And most of the time, these really hard and challenging obstacles tend to be very unassuming. So the obstacle basically was to get your front tires up, and then you had to bump, commit, and then stay passenger up a rock face, right? So I did just that. I made sure that I was strapped in. I did not have a passenger. So guys, when we're doing really sketchy things like this, which is a lot of the time, we definitely have a no passenger rule, only because of liability. We would hate for someone to get hurt based off of our actions. And obviously you understand that in this day and age, everyone's very sue happy. So just to keep everyone safe and us not bankrupt with a lawsuit, I had asked my passenger at the time that I was just kind of taking around to please step out, and I'm glad that she did. She didn't have no problems. She understood the assignment. So I put my front tires on it. I fully committed to the bump, and then I kind of let off early, but I stayed to driver was the issue. So that basically made me basically sit on top of the rock that I was trying to clear. At this point, I made the mistake because I felt really uncomfortable. I'm pretty sure there's footage of me saying this doesn't feel great. I did listen to my spotter, which was Marlon at the time, and this isn't a blame situation. I honestly, at the end of the day, am still the driver. I'm the one that makes the decisions, and I'm not blaming him in any way, but he told me that I could back off of the rock, and I don't think that he was wrong. I just, you know, you'll understand in a second once you see the video, but basically I should have asked for a safety line at that point. Regardless if I was going forward or back, someone should have tethered me, and that's on me. And honestly, guys, if you see something like really unsafe happening, you have to understand that the situation is a fluid situation. Like, no one's gonna get upset if you just suggest that someone does a safety line, or maybe stop the spotter and be like, hey, do you see what's going on back here? Back here, the rear of the Jeep looks a little weird. Just wanted to bring it to your attention, because at the end of the day, this is a team sport, a team hobby. No one's gonna get upset, or at the very most, we're not gonna get upset, Marlon and I. So please always feel comfortable in voicing your opinion, because I think that this could have been avoided had everyone, instead of filming, just been more, you know, helpful. But that's not really here or there. I made the decision to back off without a safety line, and it cost me. Basically, I felt the Jeep going, and Marlon yelled driver reverse, and I did do driver reverse, but I accelerated a little, I accelerated a little too late, and the rollover was already happening. So the next best thing was to make it, to try to save as much of the Jeep as possible, and myself, of course. So grabbed onto the steering wheel, maintained my body in like a rigid position. I fell on top of a bush. There was sand, this is really important too, guys. So as you're rolling, the stuff that is in your Jeep becomes what is the most dangerous, is my opinion. I'm not a professional by any means of rollovers or gravity or whatnot. It's so important to keep minimal things in your Jeep, and whatever is in your Jeep needs to be strapped down. You could easily be killed and impaled by a jack, by tools, by anything, really. I had a Yeti cup full of water, and that, quite frankly, could have busted out my teeth if it hit me the wrong way. So we're gonna be doing things a little different. This rollover has taught us a bunch. But to kind of bring the story up to an end here, as soon as I felt that Jeep stop, I shut it off. And so I really think that that was a really big contributing factor to saving my engine, which is obviously at this point probably one of the most expensive replacement things for the Jeep. So yeah, that is basically it. We'll insert a bunch of clips. You guys let me know. And honestly, keep in mind, guys, be kind. I'm a human being. I made a mistake. I made several mistakes, honestly, during that obstacle, but I learned, and it's not something that I ever want someone to experience. But when you're wheeling the type of trails that we're wheeling and the level of difficulty that we are, this does happen and honestly will happen. I hope to God it doesn't happen to people, but let's be honest, it happens. Happens to some a lot more than others, but the real true test is to be prepared. Make sure if you're wheeling extremely hard obstacles, and even if you aren't, but like you know that you like off-roading and you like off-roading with your family, invest in suspension seats, invest in the right harnesses to keep you and your loved ones safe. If you're doing crazy obstacles, make sure really that like your kids shouldn't be in the vehicle with you. They should be outside watching. Your significant other probably also shouldn't be with you. They should be outside filming, helping, whatever it is, but limit the liability and the amount of people that could potentially get hurt when you're out there having fun. Jeeps can be replaced, things can be replaced, but people's lives can't. So I don't want to sound like a cliche, but that's, I think the biggest thing I learned from this is I'm glad it was just me. I'm glad I'm fine first. Obviously, first and foremost, we thank God for like my safety and my health and that like nothing happened to me physically. I was a little shaken up, but guys, once we got the Jeep running, which is about like 20, 30 minutes, I continued to wheel for 2 hours. I tried the obstacle 2 more times, and I think that really was important for me to do that because if you wait too long, I feel like the jitters will set in and you'll talk yourself out of it and you'll be more scared than you should be. But yeah, all in all, guys, I know that a lot of you have asked for this video. We try to film it as fun as possible, but there you have it. There's the damage, the frame, the windshield, and the quarter part of the Jeep back there. Will this Jeep be at EJS? Hopefully. I don't see why not. And then we will also be at Jeep Beach, so hope to see you guys there. Guys, in the next couple days here is the Matt's Off-Road Recovery Off-Road Games, so we're going to be participating in that. Stay tuned to see our part in it. But yeah, guys, drop any questions you have in the comments below. Like I said, just remember that I'm someone's kid, I'm someone's wife, I'm someone's best friend, I'm someone's friend. So I do have feelings. Hopefully you take that into account. Just because we live a very public life in the off-road space doesn't mean that we don't have feelings and they can get hurt. So just kind of bear that in mind. The golden rule: if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. And guys, I appreciate you joining us for this little recap. Let me know what you thought, and if you thought that I could have done something better, or if you think I gave it my all. I'd like to hear the words of encouragement. But guys, we're out there, we're still wheeling, everything's good. Like always, if you enjoyed the video, big thumbs up, share with your friends and family, and we'll see you next time. Bye.